On February 10th this year, 2025, I released a video which I titled, "What is President Tinubu Doing?" In that video, on this channel, if you ask Jimmy, from the 22nd minute of that video to the 24th minute, from 22:29 to 24:00, that is minutes, just like 1.5 minutes, I spoke about security issues in Nigeria. I warned President Tinubu about this. I pointed his attention. I saw it, and I warned President Tinubu on 10th February. Check my channel. What is President Tinubu doing? This is what I said. Fix the security is doable. The security issues, you see, that is the hypocrisy of government. The security issues have been identified in the public. There are people who have had the courage to say this is how the problem started, this is how the problem festered, and this is how the problem actually got out of hand. And they have made recommendations. Now, government to government is just as if the government knows what the issues are, but they don't want to fix it. What is the leadership of Nigeria afraid of? People have talked about different angles to it, foreign mercenaries. They have talked about how some powers benefit from the instability in Nigeria. They have talked about how the arms got to these people, how they infiltrated Nigeria, how some things escalated from local politics. These same politicians, right from that Navy captain, something who was, I've forgotten his name, a lot of people have come out. Ordinary citizens who understand what the issues are, and some people who are players. That security is fixable. It's not an overnight thing. There was a time we were expecting, when they bring the Tucano jets, when they bring all this MRAV, when they bring MRAV, whatever. We have the Tucano. We have the MRAV. Sorry, I may not know the pronunciation of that thing. What is happening? The farmers' headers crashes. One would have thought that with the creation of the Ministry of Livestock and the securities issues, you see, that is the hypocrisy of government. The security issues have been identified in the public. There are people who have had the courage to say this is how the problem started. This is how the problem festered. And this is how the problem actually got out of hand. And they have made recommendations. I said that in the video. I'm quoting myself. Now, coming to government, it's just as if the government knows what the issues are. We don't want to face it. It's not as if the government does not know what the issues are. We don't want to face it. What is the leadership of Nigeria afraid of? People have talked about different angles to it. Foreign mercenaries. They have talked about how some generals, some of us benefit from this instability in Nigeria. They have talked about how arms got to these people, how they have treated Nigeria, and how some of these things escalated from local politics. These same politicians. I mentioned one Navy captain that came to channels some years ago. I've forgotten his name. I said, a lot of people have come out, Nigerian citizens who understand what the issues are. And some of these people are even players, meaning that they are in that security space. If you remember earlier this year, I think some of our security chiefs were talking about how they stopped the 8 agencies from certain operations in the war zones and in the zones where they have terrorism in Nigeria. I said the security, I'm quoting myself again, the security is fixable. It's not an overnight thing, because the Tucanos that we are expecting them to bring in, the MRAP and everything, I said, sorry, I don't know the pronunciation of that thing. They have brought all of those things in, and to what effect? What has changed? I said this. Now, that was on the 11th. I'm looking at my calendar here. 11th of this month was Tuesday. Tuesday of last week. On the 14th, it was carried in the newspapers. I think it happened on the 13th or so, when American Congressman, his name is Scott Perry. Mr. Perry, during that last week, he mentioned what was going on in a short speech.
So the Taliban's in charge. Taliban threatens the lives of the NGO personnel distributing USAID. They claim credit for USAID distribution. They interfere with the distribution of USAID aid. They tax the beneficiary of the aid. They tax the delivery service. They steal the food commodities. They divert the funds. They extort citizens for protection for USAID aid. They create sham procurement schemes, and they threaten the lives of those who oppose those schemes. Your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding.
The lawmaker said the USAID budget of $697 million, including cash shipments to madrasas, Islamic schools, has inadvertently funded terrorist training camps and extremist groups. I'm reading this one from the newspaper. This is by Yakubu Mohammed. A United States Congressman, Scott Perry, has accused the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, of financing terror groups like Islamic State and Al-Qaeda, including their local affiliates such as Boko Haram. Mr. Perry made these remarks on Thursday during an inaugural session of the Congress Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency, that is DOGE, don't let me add my own, an advisory board created by US President Donald Trump, who appointed Elon Musk, the world's richest man, to lead it. The controversial advisory body was tasked to cut US government spending, but has been accused of illegally interfering with or stopping the work of several government agencies, including USAID, which had led to stop all its operations globally. Now, I skip that to go to the real issue: terrorism financing. According to Mr. Perry, the USAID annual budget of $697 million, including cash shipments to madrasas, Islamic schools, has inadvertently funded terrorist training camps and extremist groups. He said, in quotes, "Your money, $697 million annually plus shipment of cash, funds, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS, Khorasan, and terrorist training camps." He said in a minute video now circulating across social media, that's what it's funding. He provided no evidence of this claim in the video, with many Democrats saying Republicans are willing to demonize the USAID agency in order to kill it. So they went ahead and, said a lot of things. They said terrorism financing in Nigeria. This is still from Premium Times. The Nigerian government had been grappling with the war on terrorism on many fronts. In the northeast, soldiers continue to fight against insurgents, including Boko Haram and its breakaway faction, the Islamic States of West Africa, ISWAP. All right. The insurgency in the region is now entering 2 decades with no hope of it ending soon. Analysts and top military officers said insurgency lingers on for many reasons, including external funding. Boko Haram and ISWAP have received funding from Islamic State, but since the schism that rocked the movement in 2016, Boko Haram has been left to source its front through taxation and violent raids on villages. Even though ISWAP still enjoys external funding, it continues to impose taxes on civilians living in their neighborhoods. In 2020, a court in the UAE convicted 6 Nigerians for funding Boko Haram. This conviction has helped the Nigerian government to track other people and businesses linked to these individuals. That is the story from Premium Times. Let me also take the aspect of the Punch, then we round up. And I'll come back to what I said earlier in my speech to Mr. Tinubu, to President Tinubu. That speech is actually 2 parts. I released the first one on the 9th of the month. That 9th was last week. Was it Monday or so? Okay, 9th was last week's Sunday. Why the one that I mentioned this security issue and told him about it was on the 10th. Both of them are titled, "What is President Tinubu doing?" You can check it on my channel. Now, let's see what the Punch has to say. USAID funded Boko Haram, other terror groups, US Congressman. And they show the picture of Representative Scott Perry, RPA. They put a photo there. They said US Congressman Scott Perry has said the USAID agency, United States Agency for International development and funded, international development, funded terrorist organizations including Boko Haram. Perry, a Republican representing Pennsylvania, made the claim during the inaugural hearing of the Subcommittee on Delivering of Government Efficiency on Thursday. The session titled "The War on Waste: Stamping Out Scourge of Improper Payments and Fraud" focused on alleged misappropriation of taxpayers' funds. Then they put here in quotes, this is the Punch newspapers of, let me check the date, of 14th February. They put in quotes, where's the quote? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $967 million annually, $967 million annually, plus the shipment of cash funds in madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS, Croatian terrorist training camps. That's what is funding, Perry said. So it's not new. It's just exactly what the other newspapers say. Like a prophet, I released my own speech based on what we are hearing, because people come to TV, they come to channels, they come to Arise, they come to TVC openly. In recent times, in the past, people used to hide. They have mentioned this issue. Some people have named names, but still nothing has happened. And I was saying about the economy of the country. That was where I was addressing the president. I was talking about him not running for 2027. You can go and check out those two videos. What is President Tinubu doing? But I gave him my real advice in part 2, which is on the 10th, which is what is President Tinubu doing, part 2. I talked about the economy. I talked about Sheyi Tinubu, that President Tinubu should not get over ambitious for allowing his son to fly the ticket of Lagos State Governor for APC, that they might not, it might not be what they're expecting. They might be shocked. And I told him about the hardship that was going on in the country. I told him how we were disappointed about, teamship. I said, is this teamship, or, is the teamship confused or overwhelmed? I said, is this administration or frustration? I was expressing a Nigerian's feeling. That is, me as a Nigerian, I was expressing my humble feeling to my president. And I touched on very many areas, including security. And I said that thing concerning the fact that the government knows what the issues are. They have brought all the fighter jets, they have brought all the Tucano jets, they have brought all the MRAP or whatever that military vehicle is called, the military equipment, but we are not seeing the difference, and people are not able to go to their farms. I talk about the new Ministry of Livestock that one would have thought the farmers' headers crisis would have stopped. You see, people have come to talk. People like even former governors of places like Kaduna State have come to talk. We have had people who are told the rest of us how terrorism started in this country. We know of a senator in Borno who later became a governor. Did he become a governor? There's a lot of information. Even in the military quarters, we have seen military people. There was a man that was caught with 400 million cash, one of the military heads that time. There's a lot of information in the space. But it looks like, whether there's no that political willpower to fight it, because a lot of things are going on, and it's not like people are not talking about them. So I pointed the issue out to the president in my own video. Go check out that video. And now, how many people watched that video? But look at now, a congressman is saying it in America with figures that, the funding of aid, which one of the generals in Nigeria Army said recently, this year, he said it on TV, on Nigerian TV, that they are doing their best to curtail all the kind of camouflage and all the kind of pretenses, the kind of ways that those, terrorists are funded, the way they penetrate the system, all the cover-ups, all the kind of charade that some of the aid agencies, he didn't mention the name of USAID or anyone in particular, but you can add 2 and 2 together. People have said things in the past, the enablers of, there was a time people said that helicopters was dropping food for these people and dropping arms for them, because, even when they are surrounded by the army, they are still equipped. So people are wondering where they're getting their equipment from. In fact, it was said that in some of the things in the Nigerian media space, how some of these people, when they catch them, they find them with dollars, and where are they getting all this, not dollars now, hard currency, where are they getting it from? A lot of theories around the security issues. And we lay people in the country may not have all the information, but at least the Office of the National Intelligence Agency, the NIA, which is like our own CIA here, the Office of the Presidential whatever now on Security, National Security Advisor, the Office of the IG of Inspector General of Police, the Office of the Army Chief and the Defense Chiefs, all the intelligence agencies, they have all this information, and how they are not coordinated to at least confront these issues beats people's imagination. You hear of things happening, they are doing some, but it could have been better if only there was more seriousness and commitment on the part of the government. Yeah, insurgency is not a regular war. It's like guerrilla warfare. That is an, it doesn't have a specific pattern to it. It can be very, very ubiquitous. But notwithstanding, Nigerians expect more, because a lot of what is happening in our country has to do with the fact that a lot of farmers are displaced, a lot of people are not secured, they have quit their homestead, a lot of people are in IDP camps, and it's a totally difficult situation to manage for people of Nigeria living under insecurity. There's increased kidnapping, people are being, there's a lot of insecurity out there. Well, I hit the nail on the head with that video that I made. I want you to check it out. There are a lot of things that I have said on behalf of Nigerians to Mr. President in a polite way, talking to him as a father, but I did not miss out the point that security is not rocket science, and he could do better if only his government was serious about doing something. Now that the US Congressman has said it, I believe, and what our military chiefs have said recently, everything is on tape. There's nothing that I'm saying. I don't have any private information. I'm speaking based on information in the public space, based on what people have been saying, the military chiefs themselves, because they came out and they were bold enough to address the issue and tell the rest of us openly what was going on and what they are doing to actually, defend our nation better and also deal with the security issue. Thank you for watching. And please like this video, please share it, spread it, and I let the video that I made on President Tinubu, where I said that let it go viral. Feel free to share the video and let other Nigerians be aware. Beyond this security issue, we have issue of hunger, we have issue of hardship and lack of money and inflation and our exchange rate, a lot of issues that I mentioned there about the politics, and also encouraging our president to do better with his team. Thank you very much. Please click the subscribe button, share this video, like it, and also go watch what is President Tinubu doing on this channel if you ask Jimmy. See you on the next one. Thank you for subscribing. Bye.